Indiana Jones. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, the podcast in which we celebrate and discuss the film Raiders of the Lost Ark 1 minute at a time. I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Jerry Porter.
I already screwed it up. I was like, well, I'll go third. I'm Evan Jacover from Hello from the Magic Tavern.
And I'm Ryan DiGiorgi, also from Hello from the Magic Tavern.
Welcome, you guys.
Hey, glad to be here.
It's good to have you here, and this is all going to be deleted.
Yeah, please do.
Yes, we're going to replace you with professionals. But yeah, you're visiting us from the Magic Tavern, which is an excellent podcast that I actually love and listen to.
Thank you. We're proving why we are behind the scenes and not in front of it right now.
See? Just because you're the smartest guys on the show doesn't mean you have to be on the show, right?
Yeah, I think that's right.
I understand that.
I am terrified of this microphone.
So
Yeah, you and me both, kid.
We're all going to be okay. No one has been killed on the show yet. And I'm sure everybody in 106 is going to be fine too, because minute 106 begins with Indy listening as Dietrich reaches into the Ark, and it ends with Belloq seeing something starting to happen in there.
You know, we talked a lot about Belloq's, like I think, Pete, you were explaining how he was wearing the ancient Hebrew sort of priest dressing and that sort of thing. But you get a little bit better picture this time of his. It's like clearly like there's a Ralph Lauren was pushing this ravishing tribe of Levi summer selection, and you look at Belloq's shirt close up, and it's like this beautiful Manna and Manischewitz gingham short sleeve. It's like accentuated with a sacrifice red sash.
Yeah.
Do we know where he got that elaborate necklace? Is that also some kind of, like, I guess he's an archaeologist. He could have gotten it anywhere, but it's sort of like he just had it with him?
No, we know. He stole it from Indy.
Oh, that was...
Probably.
Oh, well, yeah, that is true.
Isn't there a scene? I think there's a scene that was actually filmed where he goes into a tent or something, and he gets this whole thing on. He like gets all dressed up, and he's like, "Okay, I'm ready for my close-up," kind of thing.
Oh, wow.
Really?
But
I didn't know
yeah. I think there's stills of it. And maybe I'm sure as I'm saying this, people are getting to their computers and posting it on our Facebook page and stuff. Yeah, there are I know it's like in the comic book, but I know I've seen like images of this going on, and it's just like he's in there with the Ark, and I don't know, it's a tent.
Well, I mean, do you think that his outfit is made out of Egyptian cotton?
It better be.
I mean, just to smack around the pharaohs a little bit.
And for breathability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's actually, I could go in depth into the whole Jewish. It's actually that time of year where we're about to all the Jews get together and tell this story about
The story of Indiana Jones.
the story of Indiana Jones. I mean, it kind of is. It's the story of when the high priest would go in to the holiest part of the temple, and one time a year he was allowed to go in there and actually be in the same place as the Ark of the Covenant. And it only happens once a year on Yom Kippur, which is coming up. And every year as a kid growing up, we go to services and they tell the story about what would happen. And it's not that dissimilar from this in a lot of ways. But the most interesting thing is they make an extensively elaborate description of what you're supposed to wear, what the high priest would wear, and it is not this. It is
Really? It's
really?
not that giant necklace?
I mean, he's kind of dressed honestly like a Torah. I don't know if, maybe I might be going a little too Jewish here, like
the Time Life special collection Torah.
It's not like a gingham short sleeve.
I think during the rest of the year, the high priest would be dressed in gold and very elaborately. But for this one ceremony, when he actually goes and encounters the Ark, he was supposed to be in like very pure linen with no like embellishments or anything. It was all like, and he has to like bathe 100 times, not a whole bunch of times, be very, very clean and go in there. And I think like the myth is that they would tie a rope around his ankle because if he wasn't purified enough, he'd go in there and die, and they'd have to pull him out. And
Oh, wow. Well, there's something, I have a confession.
All right.
This is getting heavy.
Oh, God. This is going to be bad, too.
This is
This is one of, my ass. I didn't know for a long time as a kid that was Belloq. Safe place.
I'm only laughing because that's familiar to me. That's we all yeah.
Well,
and this
this
was
guy who's good at this stuff,
Yeah,
to do
he's
this
a pro.
ritual.
Yeah. What you were saying about what he's wearing, and this is a nice segue because we've discussed hats a lot on this podcast. And, this is minute 106 is the first time I'm going to say this. Belloq can't pull off that hat.
Yeah.
But
It doesn't
Like,
compliment.
it doesn't
He's
look
usually
like
very
him.
pristinely, very very well dressed.
Mm-hmm.
And this is clearly a slapdash affair here.
And I'm like what you were saying, it doesn't look like what the rabbi would wear. And something's wrong.
See, this is really interesting because I think last week I said that in CCD I had there was a book that we were reading, some kind of like, I don't know, Sunday school workbook thing, and it had a picture of a guy, and this was around 1980, so I guess maybe they were influenced by the movie, but there was a picture of a guy who was supposedly a guy who somehow communes with the Ark of the Covenant, who was dressed exactly like this. And I remember, and as a kid, I was like, wait, are they copying that from Raiders, or is that actually historically accurate? And then Pete, you were saying last week that there is an outfit like this, or this is
the breastplate, was a real thing. I don't know about the gingham short sleeve shirt.
Well, what I'm saying is something's awry.
Yeah.
It does. I didn't recognize that as Belloq.
Uh-huh.
And we can all say, Jerry, you're really stupid at movies.
No.
No, it's true. It's true.
I've given you a hard time over the years.
No, it's true. But that was my point. Something's wrong. It doesn't like that out. It just doesn't look right on him. He always looks perfect and amazing. And when you see him here, you're like, nah, I'm not buying this. Something's going to happen.
Well, maybe part of the charm of Belloq is his confidence and maybe even his overconfidence. But then when it spills over to like God-affronting hubris, then he starts to not seem as legit or as well put together anymore.
See, now I'm kind of hoping that this was Belloq sent in a body double, and like this is an imposter, and Belloq is actually still alive somewhere.
He'll be back in 5.
Indy 5.
Ooh,
yeah, Indy 5.
I like that.
Belloq is back.
Is Paul Freeman still around? Can we get him?
He is.
Okay.
Wow.
Using Hot Fuzz.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
You know what? I'm actually looking this up right now, like what he actually wears, and this is kind of funny.
Oh, okay.
All right, here, I'll read it. He shall don a sacred linen tunic, check. Linen breeches shall be upon his flesh. He shall gird himself with a linen sash. Yeah, I think he has that. And cover his head with a linen turban.
Whoa.
Wow,
that's important.
And some part of the console of the Enterprise bridge that he'll wear on his chest.
Right,
I bet
exactly.
he was like, you know what? I'm not pulling off this hat, but it's required.
Right, yeah. At some point, you got to do what the book says.
Yeah,
That's true.
He's the transmitter. You got to put on the headphones.
Although, I could see Belloq being like, if it doesn't look good, I don't care what God says.
Right.
Yeah.
I could also see him doing the exact, stuff from the script, putting it all on, and then going like, nope, it still needs a necklace, and just adding a necklace that he had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah. Even on the island of Malta, we're not entirely uncivilized. I'll put on this beautiful jeweled thing. I think the first thing we see in this minute is Indy, tied up to the post with Marion, and you can't really. I really like. It's just a close up of him that they keep cutting back to, and the way we've seen them before, like they're like away sort of from the altar thing, like way in the back on a high thing, and you can see in these other shots that they're not facing the ark. So we know in this shot that he's not looking at the ark, that he's just sort of like looking off into the distance. And we know in like, I think 2 minutes or like maybe next minute, he remembers the whole thing about don't look at the ark, but he's not doing that now. He's just not looking at the ark, I think, because he's like, you know what? I'm not going to give Belloq the satisfaction. I'm not going to, I'm here. I'm going to listen to what's going on, but I can't bring myself to look at the ark under Belloq's, auspices,
So that's interesting because I assumed that towards the middle of this minute, he's glancing a little bit left. I assumed that that the don't look into the ark thing kind of started when the spirits come out. Like you have like grace period, in other words.
Right.
He's looking and then he's like, wait a minute, I shouldn't look. And luckily he didn't look in time.
Yeah.
But actually, I really like this close-up shot because I think Harrison Ford is pretty good at conveying, like, first he's like, oh man, I didn't believe in magic, but what's going to happen? And then nothing happens, and he's like, I was right. Magic is not real. And then like a second later, it's like, oh no.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it's interesting because he reacts to, like, okay, we see Dietrich reach in, and this is going to be a whole other conversation. He brings out a handful of sand, but then he hears, I guess what he's reacting to is Tote laughing.
Right.
Like he hears that laugh, then he's like, Belloq, you suck. You didn't get anything. Like although this whole thing's weird. Indy smiles there. Is he thinking, okay, Belloq has totally failed in some way? Or is he doubting that that's the ark or something?
Are you talking about when he realizes that the ark has sand inside?
Yeah, like
Well,
Indy doesn't see that.
Yeah, he smiles as soon as he hears Belloq laughing.
Or
when
Tote
he hears Tote laughing, and I think I agree.
I guess he knows
Belloq
maybe.
has failed.
Yeah, like on some level, Belloq is made a fool of, and that's enough for Indy to get an.
But see, I actually think because the ark was alone in that cargo hold on the Bantu Wind for a while, and we don't know what Indy was up to. And is it possible Indy filled the ark with sand?
Sure.
He hears Tote laughing. He's like,
he filled it with ghosts as well. He's like, this will be funny.
This will get him.
Well, when they put when he realizes that there's just sand inside the ark, he lets out this tiny smirk, and it's as if his frontal cortex just cracked. Like I watched it like he just quietly went insane because it's like the irony is just, just at that minute just descended upon him.
Yeah.
yeah, but it's a complete. I think it's a reference because it's almost an identical shot with Belloq when he pours the hand out of his sand as Indy pouring the hand out of his sand at the beginning of the movie. The sand out of his hand.
Oh yeah.
When Dietrich reaches into the ark, you actually hear the wind blow. Signifying Yahweh's home.
But what do we? Let me ask you. Okay, you didn't know that that was Belloq. I'm going to say I don't know what just happened here. Like, why aren't the Ten Commandments in the ark, and why is there sand? And here's what I always thought. I always figured that the stone tablets just eroded over 3,000 years.
That's what I thought.
And so, like, this is, okay, maybe this is, like, the remnants of the Ten Commandments, but you're never going to know that, and so you've sort of failed. Like, you don't get that prize or something. So is that kind of the idea?
I thought that this tablets had eroded, but that the, sort of magic associated was still present.
Mm-hmm.
But I also, when you think about it, it's a weird thing. It's weird. I don't know why they would do that.
I think the tablets could be there if they wanted to, but they're like,
Oh, yeah. That's a better. I like that.
There's a lot of stuff going on in this arc. It goes down for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was wondering, like, say, is it the Ten Commandments, but they've just been pulverized by 3,000 years of crippling boredom? Or is it just, how about is it leftover sand from Shishak's Dust Bowl?
Oh,
Or
maybe.
Shishak has them.
Yeah, or some snake
Yeah.
just got him.
Or is it an ersatz Ark of the Covenant?
Well, there's actually somewhere I saw an interview with Spielberg, and he was talking about how he thought, or he wanted this to make you think when you first watched it that it was a fake Ark. Like he was kind of trying to do a little sleight of hand here.
Oh yeah.
That didn't
Well, we
work.
talked about that in other minutes. That's why I mentioned it. Somebody brought that up.
Yeah, well, Belloq
Like-
like the idea that, what if you
Yeah.
open this in Berlin and you find out you have the wrong Ark? You big dummy.
The interesting thing here about this minute is that, Belloq says that if you take something worthless and bury it for 1,000 years, it becomes priceless. But here we have something that was priceless thousands of years ago, and it's worthless.
Yeah.
Now it's worthless. It's worthless. I mean, that's the vibe of this minute. That's why they're all laughing and it's crazy and Indy's smirking and it's like the whole thing. I mean, you get the impression that this is a failure.
Well, why is Tote laughing? Like, does he?
That's my favorite thing.
It is awesome.
Like,
He's
is he
the
just
king.
like, this is a really funny thing, or is he laughing at Belloq's misfortune, or why do you?
I think it's that. I think he's like, you guys are all like. I don't think he really cared about this whole thing, other than it's a job from Der Ferber. That he had orders to see this thing through. I don't think he really cared about. We never have any indication that he cares about like the Ark or believes in it or anything. And so I think in this moment he's like, oh, you huge losers! You went through all this trouble and you got a box of sand. Good for you.
But even though this only looks bad for him, like if he goes back to Hitler and is like, I know this was kind of my job, but it totally failed. It's still more important in that moment to laugh at everybody else, which is why I enjoyed it. It's like, I have nothing to gain here, but you're all idiots.
They can't take that away from me.
Right.
Well, that's the thing. I feel like the whole safe place, that doesn't work with Tote.
Oh, speaking of safe place, I'm going to make another admission involving Tote. He laughs and starts to walk off, and you hear that metallic screech thing that happens when everything starts to go crazy. I 100% thought when I first saw this that was Tote peeling out in a car because he'd had enough of this. And he was burning her up.
Malta, Belloq, I don't care.
I want to see that movie.
See ya, suckers.
Oh my God.
There is something cool with the sound right after that car skidding. That kind of sizzling, that frying sound you start to hear.
Oh yeah.
Was actually Ben Burt recorded the original lab equipment they used in the 1931 Frankenstein.
Ooh.
To get that
Oh,
sound.
wow.
So it's like a very cool.
That's neat.
Kind of reference to that.
That's very cool.
Why do we think that the Ark affects all the electricity first? That seemed weird to me, other than for pacing reasons.
That's weird, but doesn't that happen like in a lot of sort of supernaturally movies? Like, I can't think of any examples, but it seems like there's like TVs go weird and lights flicker and.
But sometimes there's a hand waving of like, oh well, electromagnetic field. So
Right,
of course, this is just like, well, ancient magic, of course, knows how to affect electricity first.
Oh, is the power of God? Is that going on? There's lights on the fritz.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought it had to do more with, hey, look, none of this is going to be recorded.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you: does everything get busted in this scene? Because it seems like everything pops and there's a lot of light bulbs popping and machines going crazy and lightning-y, but then there's still a lot of light there. Are there still some lights on, or is that just?
I think it's all from the Ark.
Movie light. Okay.
It's all...
Yeah, I think that's movie light.
Yeah. All right, I buy it. But yeah, it's it's funny that you say that about the Ark not wanting to see things filmed, because later on it seems like there's a guy still trying to work a camera for a split second.
That's it.
So horribly wrong.
Another character with dedication that is perhaps misguided.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's time to run away.
You know what?
Well, now, Pete, you have a mild anxiety disorder. I wanted to. I think you'll feel me on this. When Dietrich flings the sand away, he reaches in and he flings the sand away instead of placing it back in the Ark.
Oh.
Yeah, did that make you really anxious?
It did, and you're like, does that even all go back into the Ark?
Probably not.
Yeah, like it's been because I'm sitting there thinking it's the 10 Commandments.
Mm-hmm.
And he holds it
And
in the air, so like the wind's gonna blow it.
Yeah, and he throws it down, and you're like, dude, you just threw out like commandment number 2.
Yeah. Or at least the T of commandment number 2 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Belloq just has such a look of betrayal on his face because Dietrich looks furious. Totes just like really merry.
Yeah.
And Belloq just looks really perplexed. Like how
It's
how
his
could
it's his Han Solo, it's not my fault moment.
I think Tote is just sort of sweated away his sanity here.
Oh yeah. I mean this is
Yeah.
his victory right here, and now it's just
advanced heat
just
stroke.
dust in the wind. Yeah.
Well, and you guys remember the noise that we heard when the Ark was in the Bantu Wind cargo hold?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was the sound of Yahweh coming down the stairs to spank some meddling ass hoes.
Uh-huh.
Well, it's back.
Yeah. That can only mean good things, right?
Yeah, it's back. It's I think it's at the end of this minute. We hear that same thing, and you're like, that wasn't the engines starting and stopping.
But Belloq knows that sound because as soon as he hears it, he like his expression changes and he kind of starts to look down like, hey, maybe this is working.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, yeah, it is working.
That's the bad news.
Yeah.
I actually like that before he does look down, after Belloq, has the sand in his hands, he kind of looks up for a second, which is sort of weird because it's like, what did I do to deserve this? It's like any number of things. Right. This shouldn't have gone right for you even for a second. But he's like, how could I possibly have offended God? I don't understand.
How'd you get this far, Belloq?
Yeah.
Well, do you think like up in heaven, God's given Belloq one of those speeches that Belloq usually gives his adversaries?
Once again, you see there's nothing you can possess, which I cannot take away.
Well, I'm still holding on to my theory that Belloq's a good guy.
Oh, yeah, Pete went nuts last week.
I went stroke last week. But that's more for next minute, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, on that note, if nobody has anything else for this minute, I say we pitch our tents out in the backyard, and we have a good night's sleep and come back tomorrow. What do you think
Sounds
about that?
good to me.
All right. Before we go, Evan and Ryan, where can people find your incredible show?
You can go to hellofromthemagictavern.com or search for Magic Tavern on your podcast catcher of your choice.
Didn't you get some big fat iTunes award last year or something?
iTunes deemed us one of the best of 2015. That's right, right,
Oh my
Evan?
gosh.
Sounds right. They should have.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we got real lucky to have some fans there. We got a really great recognition there.
No, you deserve it. It's an awesome
Thank
show.
you.
And Pete, where can people go to see all of our awards that we have stacked up on the shelves here at Indiana Jones Central?
Yeah. But if you don't like awards, you can find us at indianajonesminute.com, and we have brand new t-shirts. If you want to come to indianajonesminute.com/store, you can come see what we got.
Please do, and please come back tomorrow for minute 107 of Raiders of the Lost Ark here on the Indiana Jones Minute.
It's worthless and then it's priceless.
Nah,
They turn around,
I got a
priceless now.
$1,000 years.
Worthless.